Well, we were expecting it, and it has now happened. West Ham have confirmed that Marko Arnautovic has left the club. I'll ring the whole statement out because sometimes you get gushing statements with quotes from owners, managers and players, what have you, when a player leaves. Not this time. All right, it's just two sentences. West Ham can confirm that Marko Arnautovic has joined Chinese Super League champion Shanghai SIPG for an undisclosed fee. The 30-year-old Austrian departs after 2 seasons at London Stadium, during which he scored 22 goals in 65 appearances in claret and blue, and that's the end of it. Now, you can, when a player leaves, their club normally ends every single statement with "We wish such and such all the best in the future." West Ham haven't done that with Marko Arnautovic, and I think we probably can see why. But they might well come in the future. But they have confirmed that Marko Arnautovic has left the club. So, Anton, we knew it was coming, didn't we?
We did. I think it's been a rather bitter divorce, this one, hasn't it, really? I think West Ham will feel they've probably sold a player for £15 million less than they could have got 6 months ago. They also gave him a new contract with an extra 20k a week as well. So that's a lot of money they missed out on. But they wanted to get rid of the player and look to the future. And you look at the players they've got in that position. They've got Tijan Pablo Fornals, Michael Antonio, Felipe Anderson, Manuel Lanzini. They've still got Hernandez, of course, as well, Robert Snodgrass, Andrei Yarmolenko. They think they're going to be absolutely fine without Marko Arnautovic at West Ham. And the fans, I think the same thing.
Yeah. And the club last week just said...
Plenty to come on Marko Arnautovic as well. We're going to talk about him later in the show and on Transfer Talk as well at midday. Time for It's a Big Summer 4, and today we have gone for Aston Villa, and these are the reasons why. Point 1, the Villa social team can have a bit of a rest because every time Villa have tweeted from the initial account, from the official account since they got promoted, the replies have just been announce Mings, announce Mings. Well, today they are expected to announce Mings, one in through the door, and Villa fans will be very excited for that. Point 2, another forward. Wesley has come in from Club Bruges, but Dean Smith wants another forward for depth. They have already got Jonathan Kodji as well, but Villa interested in bringing in another forward player. And point 3, central midfield, Glenn Whelan and Milijedinac, big parts of Aston Villa's seasons in the Championship since they were relegated. And they will be looking for cover in central midfield for Conor Hourihane, John McGinn and Jack Grealish as well. It's going to be a very big summer for Aston Villa because we've got a few weeks left and it's all going to go off. There's going to be big signings. They want a goalkeeper, a defender, midfielder and another forward.
Yeah, it will be. It's already been busy for Aston Villa. I must admit that midfield that Dave just said there, Conor Hourihane, John McGinn and Jack Grealish at number 10 is actually, I think, definitely a Premier League midfield 3. Yes. But like Dave was saying, they need more depth in there, especially with Glenn Whelan and Milijedinac having been released. But everyone, JD, is saying, every Aston Villa fan anyway, announce Mings.
They're smiling right now, literally because they know they're on the verge of something that is going to probably, I would say, help go a long way to securing themselves in the Premier League and maybe pushing on as well. Tyrone was incredible last year, especially the second half of last year's season. He was probably instrumental when they went on that 10-game victory where they were winning on the bounce and 12 games undefeated as well. So they were instrumental behind Tyrone. I think from Tyrone's perspective as well, Tyrone Mings, he will look at it as, I probably had the best spell of football in my career at Villa Park. So why would I change my setup? He probably learnt so much under John Terry, so much goes behind the scenes that's not said in terms of, but you could imagine that John Terry was having a huge impact on all of the centre-backs there, all of the young centre-backs, and Tyrone's developed well, and I think it's a win-win from everybody's perspective.
Aston Villa fans just absolutely love Tyrone Mings. He can do no wrong, and he did no wrong last season. You know, he arrived in January, and what a turnaround. It looked mathematically, it was going to be so tricky at that point to reach the playoffs, and they went on that unbeaten run, and they did it, and to do it, at Wembley as well, Tyrone Mings played such a key role in that, so, yeah, fans delighted.
Yeah, hand up, I was a little bit surprised with the fee, given, I mean, there's no doubting that he could go right to the top, Tyrone Mings. I remember at Ipswich, very, very impressive him. Always well-spoken whenever I've spoken to him in the past. Yeah, I just thought, given his injuries, I thought that's quite a bit of money. But Villa supporters have said to me, not at all. We're absolutely delighted he signed. And given that Matt Targett, I found to be a little expensive as well. But, hey, look, Villa are getting their business done early. We've mentioned their midfield. They've signed a striker. Not a bad start for Dean Smith.
No. I will say, though, the ghost of Fulham will linger over Villa Park. The biggest spending club to come up from the Championship. And you're never quite sure whether they're spending on the right players, obviously. And one question I will ask is their starting 11 from the squad right now better than the one that played in that playoff final at Wembley in May.
Mings was already there, and
They don't have Tuanzebe. They don't have Tammy Abraham. You know, and they've looked to replace with Wesley, and they've obviously brought in Tyrone Mings on a permanent deal. But at the moment, I'd say that it's at least on par from that team that played in May, and they need to strengthen if they're going to stay in the Premier League.
So we think there's more work to be done even now with the money they've spent at Aston Villa, and that's what Dave was saying there, wasn't he? OK, I'll tell you what we're going to move on to now, and that's Sean Longstaff, because we were told over the weekend that Manchester United were preparing a bid for Longstaff, the Newcastle midfielder. Anton, can you just explain exactly what preparing a bid means?
I would love to. Basically, look, there's an interest. We know there's an interest in Sean Longstaff from Manchester United, and there has been all summer. The fact of the matter is now they're getting to the stage where, OK, let's formalise this. Let's work out a payment structure. Let's work out how we're going to physically put this down on paper and send it to the club. That's all it basically means. It's that kind of like, how are we going to make it look? How are we going to finesse this deal? How are we going to sell it to the club that we're trying to buy the player from? That's where we're at the moment, basically. So it's that kind of boring admin stuff, really, isn't it? But, you know, it gets us excited when you use a phrase like that. You're like, ooh, here we go. Bid's going in.
Yeah. We're just waiting for it now, aren't they?
It's just not for sheep.
JD, he certainly impressed when he played for Newcastle last season, but before he got injured. But he hasn't done it very much. If you remember, Rafael Benitez, he wasn't that keen on bringing... Oh, well, that's a bit unfair. He didn't bring very many youngsters through at Newcastle from their academy, but this one did actually break through, which shows you that he's a real talent. But has he done enough to get to Manchester United yet?
I think that is still a huge question mark. The leap, and I think all due respect, I don't want the Newcastle fans to go crazy on me, but the leap from Newcastle to Manchester United in terms of size of clubs is still going to be a big one. But at the same time, you just harked on it there with your point. For Sean Longstaff to have made the first team at Newcastle, from a manager who historically hasn't bought for a lot of youngsters, is credit to how mature he must be in that midfield, and also the development that he must have shown on the training field and in games as well. So you have to give him credit where credit is due. All you can do is judge him on what he's done so far. And he's played very well.
And I suppose it's a good thing, Alice, that we're not hearing from Sean Longstaff, are we? We're not saying we're not hearing that Longstaff is agitating for a move. He's a young player who, this time last year, probably wasn't even expecting to be in the Newcastle team, and now he's being talked about as a big money move to Manchester United. Yeah. So that, I suppose, makes Manchester United want him more because he seems to have the right attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. Attitude, absolutely. Character, attitude, absolutely key. I think the thing is, though, you've got to feel for Newcastle fans. Obviously, Jose Perez left. He's joined Leicester, and all the things, the turmoil that they've got going on at the club at the moment. You see a young player come through, have a great season. Newcastle fans must be getting excited about him, and then before you know it, the reverse of that is that a team like Manchester United comes in for some of your youngest talent, and this is not a time when Newcastle fans will want to be hearing that, but it's a compliment to them as well, I guess.
Right, let's get the state of play with Dave.
Yes, this is what's going on today. We understand Aston Villa have ended their pursuit of Jack Butland, but they are still in the market for a new goalkeeper in this transfer window. Stoke are not prepared to budge from their £25 million valuation of Butland, and Villa have decided that that is too much. Burnley expect to complete the signing of Stoke City defender Eric Peters today. The left-back was on loan at French club Amiens at the end of last season, and he is not in Nathan Jones' plans at Stoke. Inter Milan CEO Giuseppe Marotta says the club cannot rush things in their pursuit of Manchester United striker Romelu Lukaku. The Italian side are yet to meet Manchester United's asking price. Inter's Mauro Icardi and Raja Nangolan are available for transfer. Stefan El Shaarawy has been announced as a Shanghai Shenhua player. The forward moves from Roma in a £16 million deal. Alexander Mitrovic has committed his future to Fulham by extending his contract with the Championship club until 2024. He scored 11 goals last season.